Michael Shipper is a certified personal trainer and the founder of Empowered Sports and Fitness, a fitness center championing children and adolescents of all abilities and differences. Michael and his team design training programs that take the emphasis off competition and place it on play. With the philosophy of inclusion, Empowered Sports and Fitness enables any child, regardless of ability or background, to have an active life and ultimately develop a long-term love for exercise. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming in and speaking with us today. I am very excited to hear all about what you've launched and the important classes you're teaching in New York City.
Thank you for having me.
So first of all, for our viewers, tell us, what is Empowered Sports and Fitness?
Empowered Sports and Fitness is an inclusive sports and fitness company, and we focus on providing opportunities for children, adolescents, adults of all abilities and backgrounds to be a part of a program that truly understands their needs.
What inspired you to start this?
So I started Empowered Sports and Fitness because of my personal experiences. At the age of 5, I was diagnosed with a learning disability. And at that very young age came a lot of different judgment from teachers, from families, from friends. And as a family, we had to decide, what was best for me as far as, my future and my education. My parents found a school in Greenwich, Connecticut that specialized in kids with learning disabilities. It's called Eagle Hill, and I attended Eagle Hill for 4 years. And while I was there, I learned everything that I needed to know about myself. Emotionally, how I processed information best, how I learned best, and everything that they taught there was done on a level playing field. So whether it was in the classroom or out on the field, everybody had a chance to participate. So it didn't matter if you could read 100 words or score 100 points. Everyone had an opportunity to participate, and everybody had an opportunity to play. And that is exactly the same concept, the same philosophy that I bring to Empowered Sports and Fitness.
And how old were you when you were at this school?
I was there from 6 years old till about 12 years old, 11 years old.
Okay, so very, very formative years.
Yes.
And, I love from your website, you talk a lot about the emphasis of play.
Yes.
And it's so important to cultivate as an adult, but playing can be very scary as a kid, no matter what your ability is. And I'm curious, how do you incorporate that element of play and level playing field into your programming for your kids?
Sure. So play is essential, regardless of how old we are, to the development of a healthy body and a healthy mind. For the athletes that we work with, the way that we incorporate play into a sports program or a fitness program, there's a purpose. And that purpose is to cultivate cognitive growth, to stimulate behavioral growth, and to promote confidence. And in doing so, while we're playing, we're also exposing our athletes to a variety of different movements that provides them with competence and confidence in what they're doing.
I'm curious, are each of your programs, are they one-on-one? Are they classes of people with similar neurodiversity within them? How are you structured in programming for each people?
Yep, so we offer individual as well as small group sessions. And when we design the individual or the small group, we're basing it on 3 things. There is the physical ability of the athlete, the adaptive ability of the athlete, and the cognitive ability of the athlete. So all the programs are customized to each individual and each group.
So you said the physical ability, if there is any lack of mobility, if you will. What was the second one?
So it's physical, adaptive, and cognitive. And as far as physical is concerned, what we're looking at is how does that individual move? What are their areas of strength? What are those areas of deficiency? And helping to create movement-specific and age-appropriate programs for that athlete.
Yeah.
From the adaptive point of view, we're taking a look at how does that athlete tolerate or engage in new and novel activities. And the reason why that's so important, and I think that this is sort of what makes Empowered Sports and Fitness very unique and stands out from other companies, is focusing on the adaptive. We're really getting into the social and emotional components of play and sports and what it is to be with others and how to communicate with them. So that's the adaptive piece.
Yes.
And then finally, you have the cognitive piece, which looks at how does that individual or group process information best. We all learn differently. We all process information differently, whether it's visual processing, auditory processing, hands-on demonstration, one-step direction versus multi-step directions. These are all the things that we take into consideration.
And in assessing, I would say, a client or a participant, how long does it take you to understand who you're working with to develop their program?
So when we meet a family for the first time, we like to start with our own assessment. And that assessment can last anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes, depending on the age of the athlete, depending on the abilities of the athlete. And during that time, we're building rapport with that individual. I'm finding out as much about that athlete as I can so that when we leave and then when we start to program design, we can really create a custom program to fit their needs and the goals of the parents that we work with as well.
Mm-hmm. And you know this already, but for the viewers who don't know, that I also am a personal trainer, and nothing is one size fits all. And it's really inspiring to hear about empowered fitness, because even as a kid, myself now as an adult, although I work within the fitness industry outside of my work here at DNA, there's so much fear around community sports and in movement that it's such a block to play and understanding your body. And I'm curious, within the classes or the group trainings that you do, how do you foster a healthy community and support taking away all of the competition, toxic masculinity, etc.?
So the one thing that we utilize in all of our sessions, and this is what really breaks down many of those barriers, removing the competitiveness. I'm better than you, you're better than me, I scored a point, you didn't score a point. The overwhelming thoughts and feelings that come with being in a large group and having to participate. We utilize the concept of inclusion. Mm-hmm. And simply, inclusion is finding out what someone is passionate about, what are their interests, what do they love, and then using those interests to come up with a game or a training program. And by doing that, you're removing those thoughts of, oh, I have to go and do something. Mm-hmm. Oh, I have to go and compete. This is work. This is something that I don't want to do. It removes all of that. So just to give you an example of how inclusion works, I have an athlete who loves Marvel, anything Marvel. So we're talking the Hulk, Spider-Man, Thor, Captain America, you name it. And what we do is we become those characters. And by getting into that world of imagination and creativity, we're no longer having to worry about, did I do well? Did I not do well? We're just enjoying ourselves and having a good time.
And then in my experience too as a trainer, I find I work with just adults, not with children, but imagination is the quickest way to access your body and your muscles. You can, I say the image, think of a balloon attached to the crown of your head, lengthening your spine up. And it's so important, I think, connecting to that different part of your brain that helps you access movement in your body. And I am curious of, what are some methods or some things that you do with your clients or with your athletes that they really respond to? I mean, we have this imagination play.
Yes. So it really is all about being creative and using your imagination. Another thing that I like to have that's a part of the sessions are words of affirmation. So always being positive, telling your athlete they've done a great job, they've done an excellent job. That is another whole level of building on the emotions and the feelings and helping an athlete to build confidence so that they begin to respond positively versus when they're outside of empowered sports and fitness, thinking about their regular day and their routine, they're always being told, do this, don't do this, be here, do that. And there's such a finite structure, and sometimes that can be really exclusive.
Yeah.
So when they come into our gym, all of those barriers and walls are removed because they know they're gonna come in, have a good time. Someone's going to be there to build them up, to lift them up, and just sort of change their shift in mind frame, if you would.
Yeah, I mean, this reminds me of, there's so many studies of people who will speak positive words to their plants, and the plants will literally grow more.
Yes.
And that, it affects living beings on a cellular level. I mean, on so many levels of why words of affirmation are important. But what I find very moving and effective too about empowered fitness is that, not everyone responds, and I'm one of them, to people knocking me down. Like, I don't respond to rough and tough personally. I am a words of affirmation kind of boy. And that works for me for growth. And so much of community sports at a young age is not really built around that. It's built around a lot of, I think, toxic masculinity. I'm speaking specifically from my experience.
Sure.
And it closes people off. And I want to hear, what are some difficulties or some challenges that you've seen arise with your athletes in terms of that?
So a lot of the families that come to us and seek us out, they find that the organized sports approach is not necessarily the best fit for their child. They're looking for a company that can make sports fun and creative and engaging in a different way. And what I mean by in a different way is, number one, understanding that individual's needs. And part of that is understanding that sports is very, very specific. If you think of movement as a tree, sports is very, very finite. It's like a leaf. It's like a small branch on that tree. You really have to know how your body operates to really participate in sports. But for many of the kids that we work with, game theory, sports is a very abstract idea. So having to follow rules and multi-step instructions can be very difficult. So what we do is we take a step back. In fact, we take a very holistic approach. We try and expose our kids to a variety of different movements that touch upon their senses. So there are things that are referred to as visual awareness, auditory awareness, vestibular awareness, proprioception, which is your body's awareness in space. The more we can expose our athletes to that and provide their sensory system with a multitude of information, the more they can get comfortable with their body, the more that they can process information that is given to them. And in doing so, we can really build an individual's confidence rather than throwing them into something that they may not be so comfortable with, knocking down their confidence. Movement should be a gateway to building confidence, not breaking it down.
Yes. I think you need to say that louder and 10 more times for everyone in the back, because one thing that I personally have developed in my life, in my adult life, is a movement routine, a connection with my body that I felt very cut off from my entire childhood. And I just think it's so important in general to establish that relationship with oneself and know that different bodies exist in different ways with different mobilities, and there's beauty within
Yeah.
all that. I am curious, have you reached out or worked with any schools about bringing this into a learning space?
Yes. So we work with a multitude of schools in the Manhattan area. Many of their programs, we've gone in and established their adaptive physical education programs. Other schools actually come to our space for their adaptive physical PE. We also have established relationships with a lot of specialists. So we're talking OTs, PTs, speech therapists, pediatricians. These are ways that we've been able to, build relationships in our community and provide the families that, need these services with what we do.
Well, I am so excited that you exist, Michael, and that Empowered Fitness exists, because there is such a space that is needed within the wellness and the fitness space that caters to people of all abilities. Now, I'm going to ask you, where would you like to see Empowered in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I would love to keep growing our space. Right now, I would consider what we're doing as a small business, but there has been talk about, franchising this. And the reason being is because there really are not a lot of companies like Empowered Sports and Fitness in the country. And being able to provide that to the community and fulfill such a great need, and to be able to provide families with the same opportunities that I had growing up is an ultimate goal. It's my mission, it's my passion, and that's where I see Empowered Sports and Fitness in the next 5 years, just continuing to grow.
We need more people like you in the world, Michael. What a gem. And for our viewers who are listening right now, where can they find you and learn more about Empowered?
You can find us online. We have an Instagram page, a Facebook page. We're on YouTube. We're on TikTok. You can check us out on our website. Those are really, I think, the best ways to find us.
Awesome. So Empowered Sports and Fitness, Google search, we'll find you.
We'll be right there, yes.